growing up, my grandmother, she had a smoke detector in her kitchen, and it was right in the doorway on the ceiling, but right beside the smoke detector was her oven, and she had one of those wall ovens that you would open and pull down from the wall. And every time she opened her oven and the little puff of steam would come out, it would rise right to the smoke detector and it would go off. So her smoke detector went off all day, every day. If she was cooking, that detector was beeping, and it was so annoying. And so eventually she got tired of it and she actually pulled it down and removed the batteries. And they just didn't have a smoke detector in their kitchen anymore, which seemed to solve the problem. But guess what happened? A burner caught on fire one day and there was no smoke detector, and so damage happened before she spotted the fire. Now, inflammation is a lot like my grandmother's smoke detector, okay? If your inflammation is chronic, if it's happening all the time, it's annoying and it becomes a problem, and you want to rip the batteries out of that thing and just make it stop. And so what do? The ripping out of the batteries in terms of modern inflammation is we take anti-inflammatories. I wasn't planning to make this video today, and if I'm being honest, my nerves are pretty high. um, so today I want to talk to you a little bit about a health thing that I've been dealing with, and I want to share something with you that has been really helping me. And it may seem strange that I'm a little nervous to talk about this because, I mean, I've really put my entire life story out there with telling you about Lyme disease. But this particular thing is fairly new for me, and it started a little over a year ago. I got really sick with a respiratory infection, and if you remember, part of my recovering from Lyme is my immune system just really tanked there for a while, and it seemed like I was constantly getting sick. And so I ended up taking some really hefty antibiotics to get over pneumonia. And in the process of that, I tore my little gut up. And if you've ever been through that, where you've taken a bunch of antibiotics and all of a sudden you start having gut issues that maybe you've never dealt with before, it's kind of unsettling. And along with it, a lot of times your mental health can get a little wonky because our gut and our brain are very connected. So a lot of times, if you have an uptick in anxiety, that can be very tied to your gut health. And that's exactly what happened to me. And so I actually started to develop like some scary symptoms. I was having bleeding, which you never want to have from your stomach. And I lost about 30 pounds, like really rapidly in a matter of a couple of weeks without trying to lose weight. And, I had already lost 70 pounds while treating Lyme. And so, the weight loss was a good thing until it started happening so quickly and without me trying to lose weight. And then my doctor got concerned. So last winter, they sent me for a CT scan and a whole bunch of lab work and tests to try to figure out what was going on with my stomach. And come to find out, I had diverticulosis, which is basically a really common thing. Lots of you probably have this too, and you may not even know it. But your colon develops these little out pouchings. They're like little pockets that stick out. And if you eat things like seeds or nuts or like the peel on fruits and vegetables, it can get stuck in those little pouchings and get inflamed. And then you get something called diverticulitis, which is one of the most painful things that you can get. It's terrible. And that's what happened to me. And the bleeding that I was experiencing was where I literally had like open wounds in my colon. And so here I was a year ago. I had just beaten Lyme disease, like a year into remission from Lyme. I've lost 70 pounds, feeling good, feeling the best I've felt in decades, honestly. And then all of a sudden, the stomach issue pops up, and it's like, oh my goodness, like, what do I do? And I'm going to tell you the truth. I tried all kinds of stuff. I tried so many herbs, and I tried the things that, in herbalism school, they tell you to reach for stomach: marshmallow root, licorice, dandelion root. All of the things that they say will fix your stomach did nothing for me. And as an herbalist, I haven't really taught you guys a whole lot about stomach health because, to be honest, I really hadn't found anything that was making a difference for me. And I'm certainly not going to teach you something if it hasn't worked for me personally. And so then fast forward a bit, and back in the end of December, my friend Savannah came over. Her husband is in remission. He actually had colorectal cancer, and through holistic methods, he was able to beat cancer. His story is incredible. And they wanted a very gentle tea for his stomach as he's now in the rebuilding phase. And so her and I developed a recipe for him. And many of you have already tried this recipe. It's in my shop, and it's called Gentle Cleanse. And it's not a cleanse in the sense of it cleanses the colon. Like, it's not going to send you right into the bathroom, but it's meant to cleanse the inflammation. And inflammation is ultimately the root cause of so many problems we face, okay? So to get a little nerdy and a little medical on you, if you look at medical conditions, anything that ends with the phrase itis is an inflammation issue. So diverticulitis is inflammation of the diverticulum, which is those little outpouchings on the colon we talked about. Gastritis is inflammation of the gastrointestinal tract. Sinusitis, inflammation of the sinuses. You see what's happening here? Anything with itis is inflammation based. So this particular blend, instead of focusing specifically on gut, this blend focuses on inflammation and any kind of inflammation in the body. And so we're going to make a little bowl of it together, and I want to tell you what this blend has done for me, okay? So when Savannah and I designed this blend together, we started with calendula, okay? And calendula is a flower. It's in the marigold family. It's absolutely beautiful. You see how pretty this is? But calendula is so soothing, okay? The best way I know to describe this is when I drink calendula tea, for me, it's like it puts the fire out in my stomach. And so that's why I started this blend with calendula. Now, from an inflammation perspective, calendula is incredibly anti-inflammatory. And it comes in and it kind of sweeps out the inflammation, and it brings in like a gentle rebuilding. And so we included this one just to bring that soothing effect to the blend. And with inflammation, we need something soothing. You can think of inflammation as fire in the body. Inflammation is hot. In herbalism, we talk about how herbs can be hot or cold. They can be warming or cooling. Inflammation is hot in the body. That's why if you have a joint that is inflamed, it will get hot, it will get red, it will get swollen. And inflammation is a lot like a fire alarm in your body, okay? So here's a little story. Growing up, my grandmother, she had a smoke detector in her kitchen, and it was right in the doorway on the ceiling, but right beside the smoke detector was her oven, and she had one of those wall ovens that you would open and pull down from the wall. And every time she opened her oven and the little puff of steam would come out, it would rise right to the smoke detector and it would go off. So her smoke detector went off all day, every day. If she was cooking, that detector was beeping, and it was so annoying. And so eventually she got tired of it, and she actually pulled it down and removed the batteries. And they just didn't have a smoke detector in their kitchen anymore, which seemed to solve the problem. But guess what happened? A burner caught on fire one day, and there was no smoke detector, and so damage happened before she spotted the fire. Now, inflammation is a lot like my grandmother's smoke detector, okay? If your inflammation is chronic, if it's happening all the time, it's annoying and it becomes a problem, and you want to rip the batteries out of that thing and just make it stop. And so what do? The ripping out of the batteries in terms of modern inflammation is we take anti-inflammatories, and it mutes the inflammation. It stops the screaming alarm, but it also rids us of a warning system that we desperately need to protect our bodies. And so if you're living on chronic anti-inflammatories to keep those responses low, then what happens when your body needs inflammation to actually tackle something important? That's not good either. So when we're dealing with inflammation, we want to tone the body. And what is the herb that we go to when we need to tone things and bring things into balance? You might already know because we talk about this one a lot. It's holy basil or tulsi. It's an adaptogen that tones and it gently brings into balance. So if your fire alarm is screaming when it shouldn't be screaming, tulsi. So we're going to add a spoonful of tulsi in with the soothing calendula. Now, as we're making this tea, I want to tell you the way I've been using it. So I've been drinking this tea 3 times a week. And I will make a French press full of it, which makes about 2 to 3 cups. So I'll drink 2 or 3 cups that day, and I do this 3 times a week. Within 2 weeks of drinking this tea, like consistently, I mean, I did it with intention and purpose. Within 2 weeks, I was able to come off the steroids that I had been on for an entire year for diverticulitis. And that alone was such a win for me. After 4 weeks, I was able to quit taking an acid reducer that was keeping me from being flared up with the diverticulitis. And now I'm at 6 weeks and I'm not taking anything for my stomach. I'm not even eating a Tums. I don't have heartburn. Like, things are feeling really good. And I've even been able to reintroduce some things to my diet that I had to remove completely. For instance, I was not able to eat any sort of raw fruit or vegetables for the whole past year. And I've been able to slowly reintroduce some very softly cooked things. And I really think this is it. Like, I think this has soothed the inflammation in my gut. So we added calendula, we added tulsi, and then of course I added a scoop of lemon balm. Lemon balm is great for inflammation. It's also antiviral, and it's good for the nervous system. And the nervous system can keep you kind of stuck if your body has been sick for a long, long time. Your nervous system doesn't know how to live as a well person. And so you get kind of stuck. And lemon balm brings in that mental lift that we need when we're dealing with chronic inflammation. So we have calendula, we have tulsi, and we have lemon balm. Next, we're going to add what I think might be the ingredient that has made more difference than anything for me personally, and that's chamomile. Now, chamomile is deeply soothing. It's so gentle and it's restorative. And what chamomile is doing is it's actually going in there and it's soothing that wound in my gut. And so, when we think about chamomile for skin, what does it do? It soothes redness, and like, it's great for eczema and it's great for psoriasis. So what's it going to do internally? Going to help rebuild that gut lining, the mucosal lining of your stomach. And it's just going to bring a whole lot of healing to something super inflamed. So there's our chamomile. One final ingredient. This is a very simple tea, and you can make it yourself at home if you have these 5 herbs. And all 5 of these herbs are in our home apothecary kits. So if you grabbed a home apothecary kit and you have your jars like we've been talking about, then you can make this today. So the final ingredient is hibiscus, and look how pretty. Hibiscus is this beautiful deep red. It's a flower, and hibiscus is wonderful for cleansing, and that goes with the name of our blend here, Gentle Cleanse. We're cleansing inflammation. So hibiscus is coming in with liver support, and basically it's helping move all of the bad junk out. And as we're detoxing that inflammation, hibiscus is helping our lymph system move it along. And so it's a really key ingredient when you're dealing with inflammation. No matter what kind of blend you build, add a little hibiscus because of the way it really helps your lymphs move along. So this is a very simple little blend, just 5 ingredients. You could totally customize it and add something else. Like if you like peppermint and you want a tea that tastes like peppermint, there would be zero harm in adding peppermint or spearmint to this blend. In fact, if you deal with nausea, adding a little peppermint might increase the benefit for you. But for me, this has helped me so much, you guys. Like, I am finally able to reintroduce fruits and vegetables, and my gut feels calm. I'm not taking medication anymore, and I really feel like I'm on the path to healing my stomach issues. And so I was a little hesitant to share this. A lot of times I don't like to share things until like I'm on the other end of the story. Like with Lyme, I kind of waited till I was on the other end of it so I could tell you what worked. In this case, like I'm still sort of in the story, but because I found something that's working so well, I figured I'd go ahead and tell you what's going on. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to try this too. So if you're dealing with inflammation, the herbs that you need, the herbs to reach for, to research, to explore, to dig into, to deep dive on, do some research are calendula, tulsi, chamomile, lemon balm, and hibiscus. These are all superstars for inflammation. And remember, we don't want to just rip the batteries out of the smoke detector just because the alarm is annoying. Instead, we need to figure out why our smoke detector keeps going off, and we need to treat that from the inside out. And that's exactly what we're doing when we use herbs, because herbs don't mute the inflammation. They actually tackle it at the source and deal with it at the root. So make some gentle cleanse. And if you don't have herbs at home, or you're just like, girl, I don't have time to make tea, but I sure would like to drink it, we do offer this blend in my little herb shop. It comes just like this. You get 2 cups of loose leaf tea in this bag. And to make a cup of tea, I generally just use 1 little scoop like this, and then pour it with a cup of hot water, and you'll have your tea. I'm drinking this 3 times a week. That's the protocol that's working for me. But you could drink a whole lot more. You could drink up to 5 cups a day of this tea if you're dealing with serious inflammation. Another thing to consider if inflammation is an issue is turmeric. Using turmeric paired with black pepper, you have to put them together because the black pepper activates the compounds. That can also be super helpful for inflammation, and that's something else that I'm doing. But to be fair, I've been taking turmeric routinely for about 4 or 5 years now. Like, that's a huge part of what I did to recover from Lyme. And it wasn't enough in this case. With the diverticulitis, I needed something a little more, and it ended up being this blend. So I just wanted to highlight it again in case you're feeling inflamed. Reach for the herb cabinet and see what you can do. This is not medical advice. You need to talk to your doctor, and if you're taking medication, you need to talk to your pharmacist and learn about interactions. And if you're still a little unsure, grab my book, The Everyday Herbalist, because we cover all of these herbs in great detail. And there's also precautions, so you will learn a bit about what safety, dosage, interactions, all that good stuff that we can't easily cover in a short little video. It's all in the book. So I'll link that for you below as well. But the big idea today, friends, is inflammation is your body's alarm system. Tend to it. Don't ignore it. Don't rip the batteries out. Take care of it. And remember, plants are God's gift to us. He has given us everything we could possibly need through plants. We just got to learn how to use them. And that's what we're doing here together in this series on herbs that heal. So I hope you'll come back next week when we tackle another round of herbs, another health issue. And I would love to know, what would you like to hear about? What would be helpful? What would you like to see on an upcoming video? Let me know in the comments, and we'll try to talk about the topics that you're interested in an upcoming week. So God bless you, friends. I'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves and be well.